Hey guys, it's Elissa. Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a minute. I have been meaning to make a video. It just wasn't the right time for me, and I just wanted to be gentle on myself, but definitely in the mood to make a video today. It's almost Halloween, as you know, my favorite holiday, my favorite month of the year, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to tell you several paranormal experiences / ghost stories that I had while doing van life, living off-grid all of last year. Wow. I was mostly in the Southwest, and I tell you what, that place is super haunted. Arizona, Nevada, Utah, all of it, super haunted, super historic, lots of weird stuff. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? I mean, there's really nothing else I need to tell you, right? Let's see, what have I been up to? My mediumship. I've been practicing my mediumship like 6 to 7 days a week. If you didn't already know, I am a spiritual medium, evidential medium, where I connect to people's family, friends, and pets in spirit. And that's pretty much what I've been up to, working and practicing my mediumship and, you know, living life a little bit here and there. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, I'm going out of town on a ghost hunting trip with my best friend. And we are staying in a haunted hotel that was built in the 1850s. It still has the original saloon. There used to be a bordello on the top floor. So like prostitutes, cowboys, the whole nine, super haunted. So if we get some footage, or if I get any stories from that, if I have any, paranormal experiences, then maybe I'll make a video on that. I have a brand new voice recorder that I'm eager to use tomorrow. I'm a little scared, but super excited. So yeah, maybe I'll make a video if spooky stuff happens on that trip. But let's go ahead and get started with my van life ghost stories. Okay, so the first one is when I was in the Tahoe National Forest in California. By the way, I'm not going to identify anybody that happens to be in these stories. The first one was one of my friends. But as far as the people that were involved at all, I'm not going to identify them or talk about them. We'll just call them he. Okay. So with the first one, I was in the Tahoe forest with my friend. And it was my first time ever sleeping in a tent by myself. He was in a tent, and we went this was November? It was hella cold, okay? Freezing your ass off cold. And I did not know that it was going to storm that night. I woke up to a little bit of snow on the ground. So yeah, when I say freezing, I mean freezing. And this is before I was equipped with a really good sleeping bag. Bear country, so I do have a fear of bears. So there's already that fear. Then the fact that I'm alone in a tent for the first time ever. He promised me that he would get up at the first sound I make. I said, "Are you sure you're going to come to my rescue if I need you?" And he was like, "I'll be there in a split second." Our tents were practically touching, but he lied. He lied. He was snoring his head off, didn't hear a damn thing. He's a little bit older than me. But so anyways, I had to pee so bad the entire night, but I was too scared to get up to go. It pitch black. So anyways, there was full on thunder rainstorm. I'm telling you, have you been in a thunderstorm in the middle of the forest? And, oh, by the way, there was nobody else in the campground because again, we went at the beginning of winter in Tahoe at 6,000 elevation, freezing. Nobody does that. But I kind of like rain camping once in a while. So rainstorm, thunderstorm, so scary, so incredibly loud, like rattle your bones loud, right? My heart beating through my chest the whole night. Couldn't sleep, obviously. He's over there snoring away, but I can't sleep a wink. The rainstorm stops, and I'm starting to calm down a little when I start hearing, I don't know what, from this corner, that corner, just weird sounds. And so I start paying attention more, and I'm hearing wailing, but from not of this earth wailing. I know what a mountain lion sounds like. I know the sounds of nature. I lived out there for a long time. It was not of this earth. It was like a female-ish, and I'm not going to mimic it, but it was terrifying. Like wailing, like a woman wailing, but not a human woman. I don't know. Moans, and then rustling. And I know you're thinking, well, you're in the forest. It could be animals, right? But it was going right past my tent. A couple of times it actually brushed my tent. That's my sound effects. That's the best you're gonna get. And I'm like, what the is going on? Because it was like too fast to be human. And then the sounds, I'm like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like terrified, right? So finally I got the courage to start screaming my friend's name over and over and over again. He didn't hear a damn thing. Eventually I got so scared and had to use the bathroom so bad. I was like, you have no choice. You have to get up and go out of this tent by yourself. Go over to his tent, unzip his tent in the pitch black dark and wake his ass up, which I did. And he, you know, jumped up with a startle. And I'm like, you told me you were going to be there if I needed you. And he's like, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I was like, oh, hell no. So anyways, Tahoe National Forest, haunted, very haunted. It is rich in Native American history, that area. I mean, just so much history there, so it makes perfect sense. So yeah, so that's the first one. Let's see, the second one was when I was off-grid in Sedona. I was technically in Sedona, but just like a hair away from Cottonwood. This is the high desert in Arizona. And let's see. So I was with a different person, and we'll call him he. Let's see. So I was spending, quite a bit of time in his rig. This is doing the off-grid living, right? And at night, like several times, we would just be chilling, watching a movie or whatever, and we would feel someone or something fly by, run by, I don't know, and like slap the side of his rig. You know what I mean? Like, it's like hard to explain because thinking back, I'm like, it's just like mind boggling, you know? And he would jump out of his rig immediately with a weapon, search the perimeters. Mind you, we're off grid, right? So there's little to no people. Where we're at specifically, no people, okay? And he would jump out, check everything, even walk far out to see if there's anybody. Nobody, never anybody. And yet his rig would get slapped and hit and rocked and pushed with me in it. So, I was experiencing this firsthand. One of those times in that location, we're watching a movie on his phone, and his phone, the screen goes crazy and starts making this. I've never heard a phone make this noise, and I do know as a medium and an amateur paranormal investigator that spirits definitely use the energy of electronic devices, especially phones. I've had it happen in my readings right in front of my eyes, where they change the screen from the video of me looking at my client to go, and the phone will change to my my photo gallery, and like someone's using my phone right in front of my eyes. So yeah, the phone was tripping out. There was just several times where the rig was slapped and he would get out with a weapon, no one there, nothing, So that was, again, that area is, steep in Native American history. A lot went down, on that land. It's very spiritual land, especially there, extremely spiritual land. So I can't tell you what or who it was. But it was scary. It never happened in my rig, if you want to call it that. Never happened in mine. It was in his, but I was there to experience some of it. He would also tell me that when I wasn't in there, when he'd be laying on his bed, under his bed was like a storage area. And one of the things that was under there was all his pots and pans, and he would just be chilling, his rig perfectly still, and the pots and pans would start moving and rattling around. That happened several times. I was never there for that, but I could see with his face, white as a ghost, that he was not lying, because I know what real fear looks like. So that was that location, and that was the beginning of me seeing experiences with this particular person. So I didn't think too much of it until it continued to happen from place to place to place, because this is someone I was traveling with for a bit. And that's when I was like, okay, something's definitely going down here. What's following you? What's going on? So the next one, we were in Payson, Arizona, northern Arizona, a town that snows in the winter. Yes, it snows in some parts of Arizona. I was expecting this to be the cutest little town. No disrespect to anybody who's from there. But it was like a kind of a weird vibe. I don't know, maybe it was just that week. I don't know. But we went off grid, no cell service, no people that I can remember. There was evidence that people had been there before, but it was all muddy, way cold. Again, I didn't know what I was doing because it was my first time, being a nomad. So I was going to the wrong places at the wrong climates at the wrong time of year. You need to live and learn, right? So yeah, worst time to go there. And it was all muddy. It was freezing cold. It was windy. There was no people that we saw, at that time. And creepy vibe, super creepy vibe, at least where we were at. And it poured after we were parked, so we kind of got mudded in, like deep mud, right? And again, we were in his rig and kind of just like already a little just on edge when what sounded like a giant baseball being chucked at his rig at like 80 miles an hour. I mean, I came out of my skin. We were terrified. He is like searching around for a weapon, and I'm like, are you getting out of your rig? And he was like, of course, I'm going to see who the blank that is. What's going on? And I'm like, no, it's 10 inches of mud outside. Like, if there is someone out there, you're not going to be able to defend yourself. You'll have a better chance. So we were arguing. I'm like, please stay in here. Please, begging him, please stay in here. Because if there is someone, you're going to be stuck, 10 inches in mud. You won't be able to move. It doesn't make any sense to get out to try to fight someone in the mud. But I mean, that's how, men want to protect. And so he jumped out with a weapon. I don't know what happened because I couldn't see a damn thing because it's pitch black out there. If you're not a nomad, let me tell you, it's pitch black out there. So he said he didn't see anything, had the flashlight on his phone, no footsteps other than ours. So we were up a long time, like, should we leave? But we're mudded in. It's the middle of the night. We have nowhere to go. So we stayed to the morning. We were literally mudded in. My tires were spinning. Other stuff happened that I won't get into, damage to the vehicle, to the rigs and stuff. But, I cannot, and then there were sounds too, weird sounds, loud sounds, but there was no evidence there was no fires, no voices of people. We didn't hear any vehicles come in or come out. I can't explain it, but I will never forget the sound on the metal of the rig. Boom! What could it possibly be? I don't know. Creepy. I'm literally getting goosebumps as I'm talking about it. Let's just move on to the next one. Okay, so now I was in Nevada with the same person, and we were on a lake that had lots of rumors about it, right? People talking about, because on the other side of the lake was a military base. You could literally see it. You could see the bunkers. Not close up, but you could see it. And you were allowed to camp on the opposite side of the lake. There were we did meet up with a few friends, and then they left, and then we were on our own. Nobody else there, okay? Nobody. Again, alone. Creepy. And several times he was telling me about what he was experiencing when I was not in his rig with him. But there was at least 2 times that I can remember where I was teaching him about astral projection. Leaving your body. That's a whole other video. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do several videos on astral projection coming up soon, so stay tuned. So I was talking about astral projection, and it came up somehow about that. I want to be careful to use certain words. Government. I'm just going to use it that one time. Okay, so he was like, well, what if they're listening? Because that's the myths about this lake, is that people have seen them come up in the water because they use that lake as like a testing preparation area for, for what they do. And so supposedly there's surveillance, I can't say that word, so they can hear you and they can see you. Obviously that part's going to be true because it's literally a base right there. So they're going to be paying very close attention to who's right across, the lake. So that part is true. How much they can actually hear us, what we're saying, like in our rigs, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, when we were talking about the astral projection, and then one of us said like, well, you can't, because in astral projection, you're leaving your body, right? So you can go where you want. And there's a lot of talk and controversy about if you're astral projecting, trying to go into, government facilities and those being protected in the astral realm. Again, that's a whole other video, right? And I said, well, we should probably be careful doing it here because they're right there. And I don't know if he was joking or not. I don't know, that he was like, I don't give a blank. And right when he said that, his whole rig, it was like a giant shook it. I was in it. Okay. So we were like, like that. So again, grabs a weapon, jumps out, not a soul, not a bird, not a nothing. And he comes back in and we're like looking at each other like, what? Like we are being listened to. So scary. Oh my God. And this happened more than once. And every time he would say like, I don't give a crap and, I'm going to do it anyways. And, that kind of thing. That's when the whole, like, it would like something like, it's like something hit and shook his rig and there's no wind, there's no nothing, like, because I tried to debunk it, I'm always trying to debunk it. Was it possibly an animal? Was it possibly this? And all of these things were completely unexplainable. It was super creepy. It happened more than once. Let's move on to the next one. I'm starting to creep myself out because it is nighttime. This is when it all came to a head, when it was like, what is going on here? Like it was super major. Again, in Nevada. Nevada's super creepy. I'm telling you, like I love Nevada for so many reasons, but at night when you're in the middle of nowhere, it can be creepy. I mean, seriously. So again, no people, no one around. And our rigs are right next to each other. And so I go to sleep in mine, and then he goes into his. We say goodnight, and as I'm falling asleep, I'm hearing footsteps around mine, but I know it's not him. And I can't remember how I knew. I looked out the window. Oh, and I could see his light in there and like see some movement. And I'm like, if it's not him, if he's in his rig, then who the hell is this? The footsteps that I heard around mine. And normally I would not be okay with that. I would either call for him or get out and look or do something for sure. Right. But for some reason that time I was like, okay. And then went to sleep. That is so not me. Me is like, let's freak out here and figure out what's going on, right? So for me to be like, okay, and then fall asleep is crazy. So I'm woken up to him banging on my door, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm like totally out of it, right? So I open the door, he gets in, he's visibly shaking, okay? And I'm like, what is going on? Like, and he's like totally freaked out. Okay. We'll just say that, totally freaked out. And the weirdest part, as he's telling me this story, okay, so he's saying that he was in his rig, pots and pans rattling by themselves, hearing something slap the back of his rig. And then he said it felt like something landed or jumped on the top of his rig, super big and heavy, like the weight of like a person or a huge animal or something. He felt something jump on his roof, slammed open the door, looked, flashlight, saw nothing. He got freaked out, so he turned his engine on, turned the lights on his rig, or the headlights, and then got out of his rig with a weapon, walked around to the front in the light of the headlights. It was like looking around, just silent, waiting to hear something take a step, in case something was hiding or whatever. and then his headlights go off by themselves. Are you serious? So that's when he's like, okay, that's it. And he jumps in mine and is shaking and totally freaked out. And he said, we got to talking about what happened, and I said, yeah, but I just went to sleep. I just fell asleep and you just woke me up. I said that before he told me everything that happened, and I was kind of irritated, like, dude. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's been half an hour. And I'm like, no, I just fell asleep and then you woke me up, and now I can't get back to sleep, that kind of thing. Because if I'm woken up, I can't get back to sleep. And he's like, it's been half an hour. And then all of a sudden I realized that he was right. And I'm like, I lost time. And I still can't figure out, and what made it even weirder is that the fact that when I heard the footsteps, I said, oh, okay, and didn't trip about it and lay down to go to sleep. And that's totally not me. I'm like, normally I'd be freaking out, need to figure out what it is. And instead I'm like, and went to sleep and then woke up, and then him telling me that I had lost half an hour of time, basically. And that was actually the second time that happened out there. I really don't know. I don't have an explanation. So I was like, okay, that's it. Enough of this crap. So I went in his rig and I did a spiritual clearing with words and sage and, all that kind of stuff. And it stopped. I don't know what happened, how it went after we no longer were traveling together. But as far as when we were together, after that, it stopped. After that, I was in Northern California. I don't know if I really want to say or specify what this situation, just to be sensitive to the people that it happened to. But the next place that I was at for several months working, I had two different jobs, but one of them was as a camp host. And a teenage girl went missing who was later found not alive. And the whole time that they were searching for her, it was literally right behind where I was at. So search and rescue was everywhere for weeks, and it was a very sad and scary because nobody knew what happened. There was everybody had their theories, but nobody knew exactly what happened. And to this day, people still are totally in disagreement of what they think really happened. So that's not really like a ghost story or whatever, but to be living outside right where that happened, where she went missing, and just constant search and rescue and posters, and yeah, that was a lot. There's a lot of great things about being a nomad and living off grid, but it can be scary and it can be spooky. That was just some paranormal stuff. I mean, not to mention like being scared of animals, some of the lightning storms that I lived through. I had some creepy experiences with people, with men. Oh my God, that would be a whole nother video in itself. Like that was way scarier. Like, cause you can feel so vulnerable, especially if don't have certain weapons, or you're not with a man, or stuff like that. If it's just you and another female, or if you're by yourself, you can feel very, very vulnerable when you know that there is a man outside your rig and you're in the middle of the nowhere, especially if you don't have cell reception. So it can be spooky. And I don't want to say anything to like, to scare anybody, because obviously there's the same possibility of bad things happening with you living in sticks and bricks, you living in the city. Bad things can happen, in a house as well. But yeah, when you're out there in the dark by yourself, you grow thick skin. You gotta be strong, and you gotta be brave. So yeah, there was, situations with animal, like, I can't tell you how many times, I can't even count how many times that our rigs were surrounded by coyotes. I mean, right outside the rigs, right outside, surrounded, them yelping and screaming and all the time. Yeah, so lots of animals and, just potential danger and stuff. But I tell you what, I've never felt like I was more alive ever than when I was on the road. You are really in it, living your life to the fullest. I do not regret it for a second. It was the best year of my life, even with all the ups and heavy downs. And I can't wait to get back out there again. Not full time. Full time is not for me. But part-time or half-time, when the time is right, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And it's so incredibly beautiful. Our country is so beautiful, and it's worth all the, the scary times, because in the end, I was not harmed. Nothing happened to me. I don't know what was up with person having something following, I'm assuming is what was happening, because it was from place to place to place, but I keep my vibe high. So, nothing's going to affect me. And the same goes for you, because you attract what you are type of thing. So as long as you've got a good vibration, and then you're going to be fine. You're going to attract good stuff. And I had some the most amazing times out there, and met some incredible people. So I definitely don't want to deter anybody from being out there. But our country does have a lot of history, and the land holds a lot of memories. And there are things that are not of this world and of this realm. The spirit realm and the earth realm do mingle together, given the right recipe. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you enjoyed these little van life ghost stories. I hope that you have a spooky and safe Halloween. And I know it's not quite the new year. I'll make another video before then, but happy early new year. If you're interested in getting a reading from me, a mediumship reading, then head over to my professional Facebook mediumship page, which will be linked in the description box below. But it is Elissa Ace, ACE, /spiritual medium on Facebook. But again, linked below. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.